I'm sorry. I got to it at the end.
Oops.
Took me 3 minutes to do all my stuff.
Ah,
All right. Well, here we are. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Capitan. I always want to make it sound, Capitan,
yeah, a common error. Yeah, Capitan. It's a Greek name, short for Kapitanakis, actually.
Is it?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh. Ohio gozaimasu, Hiroshi. How are you? Um, yeah, well, I'm just getting my screen together here. So here we are. Sorry, I'm later than usual. I was just interviewed myself, so
Ah,
it was yeah.
well, greetings from Oregon.
Yeah. Yep. Mike is in Oregon. I'm in LA, and here we are.
All right, long time no see. It's been a few years.
Yeah. But well, I mean, this view of you is my natural view of you online.
Okay.
So Mike is, as you could see by his bio that I posted, he's done a lot of work, engineering, he's composed, arranged, and played piano. Um, we'll have to play the mix, especially of what he made one of my mixes Inner City Blues into a dance cut, which I absolutely loved. That's a bucket list. I think I would like to do a whole project with you of that.
That'd be a lot of fun. I love doing remixes. I thought that one came out great. Lots of funk in that remix, and
It's great.
yeah, I love the way it came out. And thanks for letting me do it.
I loved it.
Yeah, cool.
Okay, so I must admit, I don't know a lot about your life and history, although obviously I saw it in the bio. But um, let's see. I would like to know, well, first of all, you probably started off as a piano player, I'm guessing.
No, actually, and I'm a
Oh,
very much a late bloomer. I started out on organ actually, um, and I didn't start playing till I was 20, sadly. Um,
wow.
uh, it would have been great to have piano lessons and a piano in my parents' home, but that was not to be.
Yeah.
And some friends of mine, and I grew up in Wisconsin, and some friends of mine had a blues band, and I loved the music, and I was buddies with them. And what I did was, at the time, I had a job designing power supplies and stuff, kind of a geeky job. Anyway, I had credit. So what did I do? I went out and charged a Hammond B3 and Leslie, which were plentiful at the time, and I don't know, I think it was a little over $3,000 or something, and made payments and got this organ. And it was like,
Wow.
okay. And my buddy said, okay, you can play with us. That's fine. So it was just a lot of fun. So that's how I kind of got started. So I really did, I played a little bit of, I had a real funky upright piano, but really I started out on organ.
So, were you like a dedicated organ player like up till now?
No, not at all. I did that for a bit, and then a bunch of different things. I really got into synths early. I really dug
Oh,
it. Electric piano, loved the
oh,
Rhodes.
right. Yeah,
Uh,
didn't you what was in the Moog or
The
what was it?
Moog, yeah, Moog, mini Moog. When I got that, that was it for me. I mean, my two biggest musical influences as a keyboard player,
Yeah.
my musical influences, and I know that's question's going to get asked, are Miles, Brian Eno, and James Brown. You take those three. I love the funk, and I love the exploration that Miles did, and I love the ambient and Eno brings out, he hits one note on a synth and lets the thing bloom and has some effects on it, like Music for Airports, that Music for Airports album, and the one he did with Robert Fripp were really influential to me. So it's those three. But keyboard player wise, when I heard Jan Hammer play with the Mahavishnu Orchestra on the Mini Moog,
Yeah.
and his ability to add vibrato, to bend notes, it's like, yeah, you sit at this piano and, you're kind of stuck pitch wise and everything. So I really turned into a synth guy, and I like electric instruments a lot. Uh, two biggest keyboard idols of mine were Joe Zawinul and Jan Hammer, just what they did with their synth stuff. So, I played organ in that band for a few years in Wisconsin, a couple of years actually. And then, I wanted to get further along as nothing's going to be happening in music in Wisconsin. So, I essentially moved to California to try to, you know, maybe make a middle class living as as a musician, and ended up in the Bay Area first, and got a gig with this with Mingo Lewis, who was a percussionist who played with Chick Corea and a bunch of people, and he had a record deal on Columbia, and that was 1976. So I played Rhodes and a lot of synths on that album, and that was kind of my start in the business. 1976, Flight Never Ending. It was a Mingo Lewis album. It's online somewhere, and it was okay. And then that was in the Bay Area, San Francisco, and then I realized I just really couldn't. That was kind of as far as I was going to go in the Bay Area, and I moved to LA in 1979 because there were a lot more opportunities, and there I was, yeah, with the roads and some synths. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you kind of dropped out of playing the organ by then, right?
Yeah, I mean, I still do sessions on that. I played, there was a horn band up here. I play with a 11-piece horn band. I did a lot of Tower of Power and
Oh,
James Brown and that kind of stuff. I did a lot of organ with that. I love it. Do I call myself an organist? No, really. I don't even call myself a pianist because I don't have what a lot of those players have.
yeah,
I'm a keyboardist.
yeah,
You
yeah, yeah,
know,
yeah.
so, master of none. But I love synths. I call myself a keyboard player, and I love synthesizers and all the sounds and all the stuff you can do with them. So,
Yeah.
and you can hear those on my records. They're all over the place, sampling and programming and getting new sounds. That really excites me. So,
Yeah, yeah.
you know,
It brought to mind my last trip to Japan. I was in Tokyo. This friend of mine is a old friend of mine. I met him a long time ago. Really great trumpet player, kind of he's got the personality of like a producer too, you know. He
sure.
makes things happen and he's opinionated and he's got very good taste. Anyway, he created a few gigs for us and this one gig in Roppongi in a very hip, small club with a pianist who was on electric piano and a synth player who's really good. You would probably love to hear him. And um, there had to be a drummer. I'm trying to imagine where the drummer was in this gig.
What kind of material were you doing? What were you doing?
Well, we were doing mostly kind of modern jazz, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
because that's kind of, he and I mean, we come from standards, but we also like the more modern sound, you know.
Hmm.
So, and he wanted to do some of my originals, and there had to be a drummer. It's so funny. I just can't picture where the drummer was in this gig because it was such a tiny room. I'm gonna have to go look at the. There
Ah,
had to be a drummer. Anyway, but the synth player was really good. You would really, appreciate him.
so
Really
you
good.
had somebody playing Rhodes and you had a synth player, two keyboardists?
Yeah,
Oh, love it.
yeah.
Love it.
And then the trumpet player. And
Right.
he kind of played electronic synth, if you know what I'm not really synth, but
Yeah. I know what
yeah,
you
he's
mean though.
into that
Yeah.
too.
Maybe some effects and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
he's into that too.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I even used some of the like Lisa Fisher, I love the things she does with two mics. She has this one mic, that it has reverb on it, and she's gotten to be quite the artist on using it while she's singing it. She's used it for years. So I
Love it.
was doing a little bit of that too, which I really enjoyed a lot. I'd like to actually explore that a little more.
Love it. And a great example of somebody using synths and samples, Michael Brecker, RIP,
Yeah,
used the EWI, the electronic
yeah,
wind instrument a lot. And it would provide harmonies and he played tenor into this device and it's wonderful. It's on a bunch of his records, but
yeah,
I think there's this one track, Don't Try This at Home or something like that.
yeah, yeah,
Just killer.
yeah. I
Very
love
cool.
that stuff. Love that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and for those of you listening, I mean, Mike and I got more friendly through John Leftwich because they mixed together, even from a distance. And so, um, yeah, were you mixing together when you were in LA or what, how did that occur, that whole
Well, I
relationship?
think one of your projects I did in person at John's studio in LA. I think
Us
I've mixed three of your records.
straight ahead from the UK?
Yes. And then the social anthems and then the other unreleased.
Yeah,
Um,
no, no.
I know I've met you in LA. It must have been at that session, I guess. But I thought that was done remotely too. I met you before that then, so I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but we met at John's studio. Did we do something together before that project? Maybe so.
No, I actually don't remember, but that's not surprising. I mean, we've both known so many people. It's
Yeah,
like and sometimes I'll meet somebody, I have no recollection, and then after about, half hour, I'm like, oh yeah, wait a minute, yeah, now I remember.
right.
But
Small
anyway,
world.
how did your relationship with John come up? Because you guys mixed together divinely. I mean, those Straight Ahead from the UK and Social Anthems were two of my most favorite mixes, not even of my own, but just that I've heard. So balanced, so beautiful.
Oh, great. Great. Yeah, two different records, really different
Yeah.
records. And and we had some challenges with with the stuff recorded in England as you know.
Yes, yes.
But I'm happy with the way they came out. John and I met. I had a studio when I was living in LA. I had a small little backyard studio called the Track Shack, and it was a shack, literally a funky, termite infested shack. It was my first studio setup in LA. And John came over for a session playing bass. This was probably 1988-ish, somewhere back there. So John and I have worked together for many years, decades.
Yeah,
And he came as, to play bass on a session, and that's how we first met.
yeah.
And we
What
both
about the mixing though? How did that come about
mixing.
together?
Yeah, well, that started way back too. Uh, I think it was just an organic thing. I can't remember the first session we did together mixing. But we've worked, on a few artists.
Yeah, I
Too
know
many.
you did some of the Bruce Weber stuff with
Oh, a
him.
ton of stuff, a ton of commercials. That's where we really, hit it in the middle of in the mid 90s.
Yeah,
We did a lot of commercials for Bruce Weber. I think there was a couple of films involved back then that I was mixing for John, some HBO film or two.
yeah.
So, it kind of really took off early and mid 90s. So,
I
yeah, I
bet
forgot about the commercials. Yeah, we did a
I
ton of
bet
them.
you were I bet you did. I did a commercial for Bruce, well, through for John. Um, it's June and January for a Volvo commercial.
We did the Volvo stuff. Yeah. Volvo, Levi. Yeah. I don't remember that exact one, but I know we did Volvo and Tommy Hilfiger and we did Levi's. We did the kind of a Jimi Hendrix, national anthem thing. Yeah, we did a ton of those. MCI. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
So I think that's where that whole thing started. And I was engineering at the time too. All the session players that would come up to his house, I would engineer. These days, I'm just really kind of 98% mixing,
Yeah,
which I love, not doing too much tracking or anything anymore. But
yeah. I kind of
that's where the
vaguely remember John's little place
in Glendale.
before that. Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, it was so long ago. It was in the 70s or 80s or something. I
Well,
don't
he had that place in
know.
Glendale with his first little studio set up. I think that would be early 90s, could be late 80s, but
Oh,
early
yeah,
90s.
yeah.
Um, yeah, we've grown, one piece of gear at a time, and just
One piece of gear at a time.
yeah.
That's so poetic.
Yeah. And in the 90s, I was scoring video games and, of course, mixing the songs that I composed, songs, the cues. So, yeah, I worked for Thomas Dolby's Headspace media company and scored several video games for him. And that was about the same time. That was kind of early to mid 90s.
Yeah.
So, what was great for me was it was just all kinds of different music. I mean, we had every, the trombones. So we had an accordion player. We did music for Universal Studios theme park.
Oh,
So we did a lot of the tracking up at John's. Like I say, accordions, trombones,
yeah,
clarinet,
yeah.
wacky stuff, and
Wow.
then string quartet.
Yeah,
And it was just kind of fun for me because my background was more kind of rock and funk,
yeah.
and so we were doing jazz stuff and film score stuff. So it was really a lot of fun to have all these to be involved in all these different musical situations back then. So yeah, yeah.
I have two questions from listeners. So one is from my friend Roland Ascaruns, who I've known for years. He was a guitar player, and Well, he said, first of all, one of his musical heroes is Robert Fripp. And then he's a big Zappa fan, so he wants to know if you've worked with Zappa.
No, the closest I've never worked with Zappa. Totally respect him. I will say that the closest I've gotten to working with Zappa is I have actually played with two of his drummers.
Oh,
Uh, Way back when before I moved to Los Angeles, I had a outside jazz improvised band called Mother's Milk. Terry Bozzio
oh, wow.
played with us, and to a crowd of probably a dozen people. And it was just crazy ambient outside. We didn't play any tunes. It was just really heavily improvised.
Yeah,
And then in the Mingo band, when I played with Mingo Lewis in 1976, the drummer was David Logeman, who came on board with Zappa um, for a couple of years. So, and I haven't seen those guys in decades, but so that's as close as I've come to to Frank Zappa.
okay,
Great, yeah. Oh,
there you go, Roland. Okay, he always,
yeah,
anyway.
yeah.
And my friend TJ Hudson, a trumpet player, he said, "Did you ever do anything with with Paul Hardcastle?"
No, 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 not me. No. Cool stuff. I remember that track that was his big hit. But yeah, nope, nope, nope. Total respect though. Total
Yeah,
respect.
yeah. What are you doing these days?
Well, I'm working on, after I'm working on a new album. And I don't have a title on it yet. It's half done. I've got 5 tracks
Oh,
finished and mastered. So, just have to put a plug in. So I've got several that are available online. One is called Believe It. That's the oldest one. And that's a bunch of groove. And what I like, one thing that really I love working with is vocal sampling and vocals.
yeah,
Taking something from one context and putting it into another context. And that is all over Believe It. I think I can't remember what year that came out, but it's online. It's available on all the usual streaming platforms.
uh-huh,
So that's one. It's got some jazzy touches and some improvisation.
yeah,
Then I did an album called B under the artist name Kapitan. So you just look, that's my last name.
yeah.
All the other records are under Mike Kapitan. That was a mistake. I should have done Mike Kapitan. Anyway, and that ton of synth stuff and real kind of groove oriented and almost more club oriented stuff, but more vocal stuff in there and vocal samples. And then the latest album that came out a couple of years ago is called Sketches of Spin, and that's definitely more into a jazz vein. And a couple tributes to some of my heroes on there. Check out A Cup of Joe, which is may or may not be influenced by Joe Zawinul. Um, so Sketches of Spin. So anyway, I'm halfway through another record, and uh, I'm loving it. I'm very happy with it, and I was going back and forth as to whether to just put it out as an EP or a bunch of singles. There are advantages to doing it, and I'm just kind of lazy when it comes to. I'm the world's worst music business promoter. So what I'm going to do is just get it all together, do an album, and then just put the whole thing out at once rather than having to do promo for a single and an EP. And so terrible, terrible music
It's
business
yeah,
person.
it's what's the word? Not alluring, but it's interesting to think about singles because you hit the waves more, and albums just go so quickly. They just go by, you make this whole big production about the albums and it's out and then it's gone.
That's
And
right. And
so
yeah, go ahead, Kathy.
well, it's just, it's an ongoing question. And, you know, I mean, I feel I'm a good, consistent person, but also, um, I do so many different things that, um, to think of, like you said, working on all the things that you work on to put out the single, it's a lot. But the good thing is you do it, you put it out, and then you don't have to worry about it. Then you move on to the next one.
Eh,
See, it's not like this constant,
Yeah,
treading,
exactly.
treading. Yeah,
Exactly. And the sad thing about today is, and this is, I'm going to be dating myself by making this statement, but nobody listens to albums today. They don't. It's
true.
just kind of wallpaper in the background,
Yeah,
unless you're a real aficionado and a
yeah,
real music lover. But I will just say, back in the day,
Yep.
uh, uh, we would, few friends get together, and it would be a deal. You put on the record, and you start the record, and you sit down, and if anybody really said anything while that record was playing, it was considered rude. And at the end of one side, everybody would yak a little bit. Oh, I love that track, and this is blah blah blah. You flip it over, silence again. You listen to the whole thing. That doesn't happen anymore. It's just so sad. But so yeah, there's something to be said for kind of flooding the media as an artist with singles one after another, and then maybe putting them together as an album. But there's promotion that's involved with all of that stuff. You have to be super active on social media these days. It's really tough. Great thing about the internet, everybody can hang out their shingle. Bad thing about the internet, everybody can hang out their shingle.
Yeah.
So I mean, and what is it now? Almost a million, literally almost a million tracks a day uploaded to all the streaming services. So really easy to get lost, and there's just a lot of quality stuff out there. And good luck. I mean, that classic record industry, with the launch of Napster and LimeWire and stuff in the mid '90s, destroyed it. It really did. Sad.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I've kind of been waiting for something really good to grow out of, out of the whole thing, in just in the honor of change. But so far, it really hasn't happened. It's not like we're moving into something good, that's better, that where we can make money and be, have a platform. Like
Right.
you said, I mean, it's the same thing with building a great website. So what? You have to
Yeah,
you have to get people over to it, you know?
exactly right. It may be discovered, it may not be discovered.
Yeah,
Um, and don't forget back in the late '60s and '70s and stuff. And to me, the '70s and '80s were kind of the golden age of the music biz.
yeah,
Um, what was I going to say? That model is completely gone.
yeah.
I forgot the point I was going to make, but yeah, sad.
Yeah, well, hey, I want to listen. I brought up Spotify on Believe It. So it's listed here, Believe It, Juliana, Gonsteppen, and Dawn.
Are you going to play all four of them? No, you're going to just play one.
No,
Play the
just
first
one.
track. Play the first
Okay.
track.
All
Yeah.
right, here we go.
Hey, whoa!
Wow, I wasn't prepared for that. That was amazing.
Oh, thanks, thanks. I love that track. And that is a sample of a gospel singer that I just, flew into that track.
Who
So
is that guy?
I don't
You
know.
don't remember?
No, I don't.
Wow.
It was a licensed sample. You know,
Oh,
I
what?
I paid for the sample. I didn't rip
It,
it off.
wait a minute. It was a sample.
Yes,
So
a gospel.
did you
What?
write that song around that?
Nah, not exactly. It fit in really, really nicely. No, I had the track, and I knew that I wanted something to provide a hook, a vocal hook.
Yeah.
Uh, and um, and I've got a library of I have a zillion samples here. I've got so many samples, and I love working with them. So
God,
I'm
that
not sure where I
was
got that
so
one,
friggin' funky, man. Oh my
but
God. And see, I want to definitely play what you did on with my song because you have a really amazing producing ability to put it all
well,
together.
well, that one was fun because unlike, a lot of remixes, which, will basically just take the a cappella and do a whole new track, which I love doing,
Yeah,
completely not using anything on the original track. And again, taking an a cappella and building a new track
yeah,
around it. What was fun on yours was I just loved the drumming so much. It was so funky. And so what I did, with your remix was just take a lot of my favorite elements that were there.
yeah,
And I wanted synth bass on it, so I added the kind of growling synth bass. And uh, so it was different in that I used a lot of elements from your track.
yeah,
You could hear it. There's bits and pieces of a piano solo that I saw. Oh, man, I really like this part of it. So it was a lot of fun, and it was a slightly different approach that I took on your remix than I would have normally done. And I think it came out great, and it's very organic, and it's just, it's funky.
yeah, me too. I definitely want to play that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, Roland was talking about how the ritual of listening to an album with friends, he misses that.
Oh,
And,
yeah. Gone forever. Gone forever.
and yeah, Wilbur Walker, he also misses that part. And yeah, speaking of drums, yeah, did that track have drums on it? I heard
Which
cymbals.
one? The one we
Oh,
just heard?
yeah.
You mean Believe It?
I mean, I heard percussion or
Well,
right?
there is
Wasn't that
percussion. Yeah.
congas and stuff?
There's congas in there, but there's a full drum kit. Yeah,
There is.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was listening for it, like I actually I didn't hear it. I just heard the cymbals, but I was trying to listen to yeah,
Ah,
interesting.
yeah, no, there's full on drums on that one for sure. There's slamming.
Ah, I know. It's like you got to do it. Okay, I'm gonna look for my cut because
Yeah.
since we were talking about it, your inner city blues. So this so this record had inner city blues on it, and then Mike remixed it for like a dance kind of cut, which is incredible. And where am I? Okay, I want to play that remix.
Make me, 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 make me. Rockets, moonshots, spend it on the hands. Money, we make it, before we see it, you take it. Oh, makes you wanna holler, the way they do my life, make me wanna holler. The way they do my life. no chance to increase finance. It'll spiral up sky high, send that boy off to die. Make me wanna holler the way they do my life. Make me wanna holler the way they do my life. Hang-ups, letdowns, bad breaks and setbacks. Natural fact is, honey, that I can't pay my taxes. So makes me wanna holler and throw up both my hands. Yes, it makes me wanna holler and throw up both my hands. Yeah, 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 yeah. Crime is increasing. Trigger happy police. Panic is spreading. God knows where we're heading. Oh, what makes me wanna holler? They don't understand. Make me wanna holler. They don't understand. Make me wanna holler. That's it. That's it. Make me wanna holler. Yeah. Make me wanna holler. Make me wanna holler.
I love that version, man.
It's so cool. It's so cool. And who's the kudos to
Steve,
shout out to the drummer.
yes.
Who is that?
Steve Haas.
Say again?
Steve Haas.
Happening.
I know. He is a great drummer.
And what I love about that remix again is, it's very organic. It's a lot of the elements that were tracked live.
Yeah.
And I just added, synth bass and some synth here and the pads here and there. But way cool. And of course, jumble it all up and put stuff in new places and
Yeah.
had a lot of fun.
It's awesome. I'm doing finally doing a CD release party on June 9th at the Baked Potato. And I got together with the pianist just to go over the charts and clean them up. And, I said, I actually want to put this version on at the end. So can
Wow.
we do that, And so, yeah, we're going to do that.
Wow. Oh, I wish I could be there to hear this. Well, very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Steve Haas is like, you know, the relationships you have with various musicians, whatever, you like a lot of musicians, but there's certain relationships that bring out something. And his time and my time can really lock in. It's great. That record we changed some of the personnel later because and you were a part of the mixing, but because when we did it, it was kind of a lot of noise. I mean, it was like a lot of playing, and then of course John is like the king of removing stuff.
Weeding, yeah.
Yeah, he's really the king of that. So that's why we changed the drummers on certain cuts, but not on that cut, and not on, I have the original that I have, the beginning of you, which is, a little kind of funky-ish. Yeah, no,
Mm.
we didn't change them on that. And it's funny because we tried to change that one, but it was like, nah, nope.
Yeah,
My timing is definitely hooked into Steve Haas on that song. So
nice. And I like the snippet of the piano solo there at the end where it kind of comes in a couple of times and
yeah,
really cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
I love your synth bass, man. There's one point where it comes in really
Whoa.
strong.
Yeah, yeah. I love that sound. Yeah. Just
Uh,
growly and in your face.
yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah. Great.
So
Good luck
you're,
with it. I wish I could be there to see that live.
yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
I keep saying this, but I've lived here for 50 years and I've never worked there. So
Ah,
this is my first baked potato gig. Wow.
wow. Well, congratulations. I haven't
Only
been in there.
took 50 years.
Yeah, I was in there, gosh, I don't know, maybe 30 years ago. Cool little place. That's the jazz center of LA club wise.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Probably one of the oldest places besides the Mint. And the Mint is like 75 years old or something.
Wow. Wow.
But
Oh,
it's not exactly a jazz place, right? The baked potato's been jazz forever.
right. Right.
So
Is what you call it still there? What's the one on was it on La Brea or La Cienega, the club? I mean, I a couple times it's the big jazz club. I saw John play there with Freddie Hubbard. What's the name
the
of that?
not the bakery, right?
No, no, it's right in town, right in Hollywood. Ah, having a senior moment. Can't remember the name of the club.
I'm trying to think
I
of the
wondered if it
place.
was still there, is my question. Um,
I don't think so because I can't remember what it is.
yeah.
And it's definitely on La Cienega or La Brea.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. And like I said, I saw John play there with John Beasley was in the band and Freddie Hubbard before he passed.
You're not talking about Catalina's.
Yeah. Catalina's.
Catalina's is there. I was just actually produced a show there last night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so yeah, they moved from their original location was on Cahuenga, and
Oh,
then
okay.
which is
Okay.
probably where you saw that.
Okay. Yeah, 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 yeah. A long
Yeah,
time ago.
yeah, that was really, I loved that club.
Yeah.
That was the hippest club. Then they moved over to kind of Highland and Hollywood, Sunset, Hollywood Boulevard, whatever that is. And I mean, the club is really quite nice. It's beautiful. It's just very different from the first one, you know.
It is. And the best, that's just the best experience is in a club. Some of my most treasured listening experiences were I saw Miles in a club, a Keystone Corner in San Francisco. We were back maybe 7 rows of chairs. Miles is right in front of us. Dave Liebman in the band. Uh, I saw Weather Report at a club in Santa Cruz. And they were playing big halls and stuff. I was sitting like 3 rows in front of Zavinul and Wayne Shorter. What was another one? And of course, Catalina's. I saw a couple of musicians there. But there's just nothing like being, in this
No,
smaller club with these big acts, and you're just there, in front of legends.
yeah,
So, I miss that. There's a couple clubs up here. There is a jazz scene up here. There's a club called 1905, which is just tiny. I don't know if the capacity exceeds like 40. And there's a scene there. They have music a lot, I think 7 days a week. a lot of local players, some good players. But yeah, the club thing is just a wonderful thing. When you can get and when I was playing live, I played everything from small clubs. I was on a tour and I played on a couple Thomas Dolby records. We played everything from small clubs. One of our last gigs was at the Rose Bowl. We were second or third on the bill behind Depeche Mode. And you look out, we didn't have a big show like the Stones or anything. And you look out at this gigantic audience, you just feel so tiny. And my favorite on the live playing I did with him was small clubs, just sweaty small clubs with people right up against the stage. Everybody's into it,
Yeah,
so that experience, that small club
yeah.
experience is a wonderful thing.
I agree. And actually, I also saw Weather Report at Catalina's, the old Catalina's.
Oh,
I
nice.
was sitting at the bar.
Ah, nice.
I can still see the group right there in front of
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
One time I mean, I've seen a lot of people, Michael Brecker, I saw,
Nice.
and uh, Kenny Kirkland,
Yeah.
pianist, Dave
R.I.P.
Carpenter. I don't know if you ever knew him, great bass
Who?
player.
Who?
Dave Carpenter.
No, I don't know him.
He was a great player, and Jeff Tain Watts, the three of
Mm,
them.
yeah.
That particular concert kind of, well, that and also Michael Brecker, those well, and Weather Report, those they blew my mind for various reasons, but um the Kenny Kirkland and Jeff Tain Watts, that blew my mind because I was listening and I wasn't digging it. The time was weird, I couldn't quite like center in, and then I got it. The bass player was right down the middle. Kenny Kirkland was ahead of the beat and or behind the beat, and Jeff Tain was in front of the beat.
Ah,
And that just my head kind of cracked open. And then Michael Brecker at that time, he had that Irish uh
yeah.
horn
You mean
player.
that tune? That tune, It's Been Real?
I don't know, but
It-
it was an Irish horn player with him.
Oh, okay. No, no, no. Just a quick aside here. Michael
Yeah,
Brecker on that album, I think, Don't Try This at Home.
yeah,
He did it. It's like an Irish, I don't know, it's not a jig. I don't know what the
yeah.
proper term would be. And he plays the EWI, the EWI on that track. And it's called It's Been, I think, Byne, and I think it's Reel. That is a killer track. It's one of my all-time favorite, it'd
I
be
have to
on my
write
top
that.
10 jazz tracks. But you should check that out.
I'm
Anyway,
going
go ahead. I thought you were talking about that one where he does.
No, no, this was live, and the two of them, I've never seen this before in jazz. Anyway, they were they were facing front, and they both were soloing together, and literally their bodies started turning outward like that. My head exploded when they, oh my God.
Well, it looks like it healed okay.
Yeah, I did. You have to see that in a small club,
Yeah,
It's just
wonderful,
so, yeah, it's great.
wonderful. And Kenny Kirkland, miss him dearly.
Uh,
I saw him once with Sting actually, and
yeah,
he killed it. It was great. Brought
yeah.
his jazzy thing to
I
Sting's
love
music.
that. Yeah, I loved that period of time too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And Jeff Tain, I mean, he was so spot on, but he was really like on the head, on the front of the beat. And, yeah, it's like if you're not holding your own, I mean, forget it.
yeah,
That's not going to work. But
yeah. Hold
yeah,
on. Yeah, hold
yeah,
on. It's coming.
yeah, yeah. So, let's see. Um, I was gonna, um, I'm looking at your about Mike Capitan. It's about Mike Capitan. Yeah, let's see, we talked about Bruce Weber, talked about commercials. Roman Polanski's film.
That was with John. Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
John's
I
done so much. I can't.
Yeah, I don't know whatever happened with that, but yeah, that was another project, kind of mid '90s for Bruce. Yeah,
Oh, for Bruce?
yeah, that was Bruce Weber's film, right?
Roman Polanski.
Oh, the pianist. I'm sorry. Yeah, we did
Yes.
some stuff for Bruce too. Yeah, the pianist. That was an album. I think it's still available. It was based on the movie. It wasn't really the movie's soundtrack or score.
Yeah.
And it was just a bunch of songs related to that movie. I can't remember the singer we worked with there.
Oh, I think it says, let's see.
What's her
It
name?
says Josephine Johnson.
No, no.
Oh, mixed and mastered George. Oh, that's like maybe,
That was
well,
a different an artist that I worked with. Yeah.
oh, this is kind of in the same area, but let's see. World music duo William Lobo,
Yeah, I did that with
songwriter
John.
song.
That was early John work. That was in the 90s too. They did their record up at John's house, and I mixed it and tracked a lot of it.
Oh, I see. Anyway, you're just mentioning all these various things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I thought it was under the pianist.
Yeah, no, no.
Yeah, no. So what's
Yeah,
on your
maybe.
bucket list, man?
A
You have a
lot of,
bucket list?
lot of fun stuff. Do I have a bucket list
Yeah.
of?
I have to be specific. No, like bucket list. I mean, well, music, a music bucket
A
list.
music bucket list?
Ah,
Yeah, I don't know. I'm happy with the way things have gone.
yeah.
When I was a lot younger, of course, 40 years ago, I wanted to play with Miles. That was my overarching, especially with Miles. Oh, I had that a band. I had a Miles Davis tribute band. I don't know if you know that or not. It's on the
Ah,
website. There's a bunch of YouTube videos up, and what
oh, I'd
I
like to see that.
I really, yeah, I really got it. I love Miles's stuff from like 69 to like 73 or 74 in a silent way, which we performed live.
I love it.
Bitches Brew, which still I think confuses a lot of people. When
Yeah,
I first heard that record, when it came out, I loved it, but I didn't get it. And then years later, I got it. Chick Corea's on there, Joe Zawinul, Herbie,
yeah, yeah,
multiple keyboard players doing all this stuff, just really, really cool stuff. So we did stuff from, In a Silent Way, Bitches Brew, On the Corner. Um, so yeah. So bucket list, playing that music was just so much fun. And so that was kind of my, my fantasy 30 or 40
yeah.
years ago was to be a rock guy and come into Miles's band. That would have
I
been
remember, Kei Akagi was the synth player for him for a
oh,
while,
oh,
in the more
like the late
modern.
80s,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
pop stuff. Yeah.
yeah. And I hope I'm not disclosing anything, but he probably said it. I think I interviewed him, but you know, who doesn't want to play with Miles Davis?
Oh,
But he had the same parts over and over again.
on that pop stuff, right? It was, yeah,
Yeah,
it was more at that
kind of
point,
a letdown.
I totally respect him and always will, but I'm sure he sold some more records then, but it wasn't that,
Yeah,
always exploring Miles Davis thing that he had really from the beginning of his career up until the 80s, when he did, Time After Time and
yeah,
all that stuff. I mean, beautiful and but it didn't move me like his earlier stuff where he was exploring and taking chances. And I mean, again, that early 70s stuff, and Keith Jarrett played with him. Keith Jarrett, I believe, played with him for 9 months. And Keith Jarrett hates electric instruments. And Keith Jarrett is playing this, I don't know what it was, a Farfisa organ or something with Miles.
yeah.
And he was interviewed, after that period, and he said, I just did it because I wanted to play with Miles. And then he did it, I believe, for 9 months, a bunch of live gigs. There's a lot of them up on YouTube. And sometimes it was Chick and him live. Chick was on Rhodes, and he was on this cheesy sounding organ. Anyway, way way cool. Yeah.
Interesting. So, okay, I'm on YouTube and I'd love to see some a Miles, your Miles thing. So, should I
Um,
say something after your name?
yeah, just no, just type in Miles Ahead Group, and you should come up with some stuff. They're long though. I don't know if you're gonna.
Well, we could watch a bit of it and then,
What else we
so,
got? Not greasy bacon. That's redone completely. I don't like that version anymore.
okay, there's Bitches Brew.
Uh,
There's Miles Ahead. Oh, but
no,
that's
that's
not
not
you.
us.
Great Great
That's cool.
Expectations. Is
Right
that
off
you?
is cool, although it's very long. I don't know if you'll be able to play. I take a nice synth solo in that one. You can play that one.
Okay,
Uh,
let's do it.
Gave up on my dark circles, wrinkled.
I don't care.
okay.
I
All right.
refuse to pay $12 anymore for no. Oh, you're looking really sharp there, man.
This is from the Jack Johnson album. Miles' Jack Johnson album.
Sounds great. Great. Wow.
yeah, it's pretty long.
Yeah,
And
that
not the greatest mix either. Where are those keyboards? Turn them up, turn them up.
I know. Wow, what fun was that?
That was a blast playing that music. It was a blast. Just yeah, it was very very cool.
Roland, I see what you're saying. Yeah, my friend Roland, so he played guitar, then he kind of went away from it, but he said this is the period of music when I tried to get back into the guitar. I loved the directions in which rock and jazz were going. Yeah,
Yeah, and that track was great. It's from Miles's Jack Johnson album,
yeah,
and that's John McLaughlin on guitar, and Billy Cobham on drums, and Miles. Really cool track, and it's just to me that track can appeal to you could be a Grateful Deadhead, a rocker or a jazzer. I mean, it's just so cool what Miles brought to the table in that period, which I just loved.
yeah. I was a deadhead.
All right, I won't hold that against you.
Well, I was a deadhead in college. Yeah, let's put it that way. So, yeah, it was, but I mean, I found it very, a little bit like this, but also like jazz. It was the two drummers and the wall of sound, which sounded like, you know, not loud. And
Yeah.
then just yeah, it was great. It was a good group.
Yeah, all the improvisation. I don't call myself a deadhead. I respect them because a lot of it was improvised.
Yeah,
Having said that, I don't know. Some of it didn't move me a whole lot, but
yeah,
but kudos to them for being improvisers and kind of trying to do it different all the time. So
yeah, yeah.
all respect to that. I thought that one of the best versions of that band was when Bruce Hornsby was in the band, and I love his playing, and he brought a whole new thing. And one of their old keyboard players who passed away, what was that guy's name? Not Vince Welnick, the other one. He played a Mini Moog, and he was doing some interesting stuff. I think he was in the band a few years. I can't remember his name right now, but anyway, cool.
Yeah, I know who you're speaking of, but I can't remember the name.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, Roland, I was a deadhead. Well, I mean, I don't know what the proper, I don't know what the proper description of a deadhead is, but I was definitely into the Dead in college.
Nice. They're
Yeah,
still huge, still drawing huge audiences.
it's pretty amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty amazing. Um, yeah, I mean, that music did appeal. I was just on an interview before this, and we were talking about, you know, um, like what drives you, what made you decide to, go in these directions, and how the music grew and developed, how it changed, you know. Yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's a really interesting thing because it's personal, but it's riding on kind of a group thinking, right?
Yeah.
Like how humanity's going, or there are these chunks of people who like this music where they're going, and yeah, it's music just adds so much to life, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And again, we go back to you talk about the Dead. I mean, the big cultural shift of the late 60s and 70s. And people were listening,
Yeah.
and barriers were being removed. Miles bringing rock and funk into his music, into jazz.
Yep.
The improvising that the Dead did. I mean, I'm not seeing it today. This is some of this kind of these great players who are playing jazz today have kind of gone back to, I don't know. I'm looking like you. I'm looking for the next big thing. I'm just hoping there's going to be some kind of big tsunami of creativity, but I haven't seen any signs of it yet. But I'm of an age where that period, things were wide open, and I love it. I'll never forget it, and I'm happy that I was able to live through that.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Really great.
uh,
Yeah. Um, were you, since you were into Weather Report, but you were really into Joe Zawinul. But did you know Bob Moses's music?
No, I've heard the name. I'm not familiar. No.
Kind of like Weather Report,
Uh-huh.
along those lines, modern, sometimes many instruments, but beautiful music, stretching, you know, creative pieces of it. Really good. He's still around. He's living in Memphis, but yeah, a really amazing artist.
Oh,
Yeah.
I have to check him out. From that period, in
Yep.
that period, he was doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Bob
Yeah,
Moses.
nice. Oh,
Really interesting stuff.
I'll note that.
Yeah.
Cool. Wow. Electric stuff. I mean,
Yeah, it was like a little, well, it's I think along the same lines as Weather Report. Just trying to think of he's a drummer, so he had percussion was a big part of it, but I'd have to go back and really listen to see like I'm sure there was synth in there, and um, he had that kind of singing that
that's Alno did with
yeah,
the vocoder. Oh, cool.
yeah, and that kind of ba ba, that kind of far away, almost um, cultural type of singing, some of that, um, and humor. He had humor in there.
Oh,
Um, what was the? Oh yeah, so one song that I actually put in my book. So he took Embraceable You and I don't know, I probably asked him how he did this, but uh, it was almost like everybody soloed and then they weeded out so that it would be bop, ba da da, that kind of, they weeded out the,
what, some of the harmonies? I'm not sure what you
Well,
mean.
there was a melody, right? And there was this melody, ba ba da da ba da 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 da, but not one person was playing it. They were all, but they would like if you and I were playing this melody together, he would take me and like take you out, and I would go ba ba da, and then he would give it to you, ba ba da da da,
Oh,
ba
okay.
ba ba ba, and he called it Embraceable Jew.
Ah,
So, he had humor in there, and he was very creative along
wow.
those ECM-ish lines.
Oh, yeah. Love that label. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. That was
yeah.
when ECM really came forward. I think Weather Report and Keith Jarrett might have been the first ECM artist.
Well, Keith Jarrett was there early on. Yeah. I'm not sure Weather Report was ever on ECM. I think they were
Well,
always with Columbia, but
I'm just gonna go look at this because, well, I mean, maybe I'm thinking of something else, but ECM label. Um, uh, let's
yeah,
see.
Cologne concert.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, I remember getting that album, just playing that to death.
To death. Let's
Yeah.
see. Let me see if
Wear out
there.
the grooves. Yeah. I've still
Yeah.
got that. I don't have a lot of vinyl left. I got rid of a lot of it, but I still have that 10 disc, the Sun Bear concerts. It's 10 discs of Keith Jarrett playing solo piano. So I was a fan.
Oh my God. Well, let's see. I'm on the ECM site, which I should go to more because it's interesting, especially to see who. Let's see. Norma Winstone. In more recent years, she was a singer from England. She got on there.
Hmm.
So here we go. So this is wow. The first issue was Mal Waldron. Interesting.
Huh.
And then Keith, Jan Garbarek, Chick Corea, Paul Blake, Gary Burton, Egberto Gismonti, Pat Metheny, Jack DeJohnette, and the Art Ensemble. I don't know where I thought Weather Report was, but apparently not.
You know, I can see very small. I can barely read the comments, but somebody said the Dead never had a radio hit. I think they did. Didn't they? Wasn't that one Touch of Gray or
Truckin'?
something like that? I will get by. Wasn't that a top 40 hit? I thought they had
Oh,
one hit.
but what about Truckin'?
Well, that was not a hit. That was not a hit. I
Really?
mean, it was a very popular tune,
Yeah.
but the one that got into the top 40, I believe, was that one Touch of Grey album. I will get by. I will get by is the way they said it. I think that they had that one hit anyway, but I'm no expert on the Dead, that's for sure.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah,
That's cool.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, man. So, is your new record more funk oriented, like the one we heard being be what is it?
Yeah, it's a little more atmospheric. It's not quite as funk oriented as Believe It.
Yeah.
Maybe I should get some more in there. It's more along, the sketches of Spin vibe. So there's groove for sure, but it's a little more atmospheric and jazzier. Um, Believe It, that track that we played was probably
Yeah.
the jazziest. I at that point I was not taking a lot of solos on my records. It was more kind of, it was more electronica directed as
Uh-huh.
opposed to, improvised solos and stuff. And now I'm just saying, you know what? I'm just doing what I want to do, what I like, which I
Yeah.
did then too. But I'm into soloing more now, which there are a bunch of on Sketches of Spin.
Yeah.
So I would say it's more in that direction. There are
Yeah.
definitely grooves,
Yeah.
but it's not the hard funk that you heard on that one track from
Yeah.
Believe It. Mm-mm.
You're in Oregon. Do you ever bump into Nancy King?
No, I've not heard the name. I don't get out too much. We've been here 4 years. And what does she do? And
Okay. Do you know Steve Christofferson?
no,
Oh, okay.
When
Um,
we moved up here, it was COVID. We didn't go out. We didn't, you just don't go out. And we're going out and seeing some music now, but so I'm not plugged into the scene here at all. I really don't know, other than piano player David Goldblatt, who I'm friends with and know him up here. And Brad Dutz lives up here.
I
Good
know.
old Brad. And I've jammed with Brad a couple of times and jammed with David. We had the two keyboard thing going. It was a blast at his house.
Cool.
But
I
other
think
than that, I'm really not plugged into the scene up here at all.
possibly Randy Porter lives in Oregon too. He's a great pianist.
Yeah.
And Steve Christofferson, I think you and he would get along really well. He was, Nancy King is one of the remaining great jazz singers alive, and she's very unusual. Um, she's like a born jazz singer, and um, she's sh at this point in her career, I think she's kind of a recluse and not really out there very much, but well checking out. I mean, she's an incredible singer. Like
I'll
just
check it out.
yeah,
I'll check her out. And Steve Christopherson, what does he play?
piano.
Okay.
Yeah, he might play synths and stuff too. But he's really a cool guy. I think you and he would get along really well.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, so as a matter of fact, Nancy, a long time ago, she did an album with Glenn Moore from Oregon. You know
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
band?
Don't know him, but yeah, I
Yeah,
know the
yeah.
band Organ. Yeah.
That was a great record. She's a little unusual, and she didn't really read music. So when she started singing songs, she just picked the regular keys that people were playing in.
Yeah.
And she ended up with a huge range. And then she also ended up singing, like when she'd come to the bridge, she'd just change octaves.
Oh, interesting. So does she have records out? I want to check her out.
Yes, yes.
And we do have a couple of jazz festivals up here. I'm unfamiliar with the name, but I've written it down and I will follow up on that on both of those people. But there's a uh, Montevilla Jazz Festival in the summer, and they have a lot of free concerts outdoor, which is great. They have stuff downtown during the summer. all kinds of stuff, salsa bands, and all kinds of different music. But I will look them both up. And then there's the big jazz festival, the PDX Jazz Festival here in February. John was here last year playing with Hubert Laws. It was a little too icy for us to get out of the house to see that.
Oh, really?
Anyway, yeah, I will watch out for them. I've not heard of Nancy King. I'd love to check her out.
Yeah, you'll appreciate her. She's really a great singer.
Nice. Yeah, nice. And she doesn't read music, as don't I. So
You really?
I don't read music. I wish I know chords.
Wow.
You
You
put
a
down a
little bit.
chord and
Yeah, yeah,
I know what it is, but
yeah.
to sit down in front of a page and sight read it, I cannot do it. I wish I could. I really
Oh,
do, but I
interesting.
cannot.
Wow.
Yeah. But give me a chord chart, I can get I know what's
Yeah,
going
yeah,
on.
yeah, yeah.
But no, I wish I could read. I wish I could.
Interesting. And you never just kind of learned over the years.
No, never learned over the years. No,
Yeah,
as I said, no lessons, kind of late bloomer,
yeah,
self-taught. Um,
yeah.
and I've got bad habits, bad hand habits, that, I know that they're bad, and you sit there and you practice for a while and then you say, I don't know. This is the way
I
it's gonna be. This is the way it's gonna be for the rest of my life. So I'm happy with it. I can be creative and make interesting music, and away I go. So
Yeah. I have singers sometimes show up. They feel bad and they're embarrassed and I'm always like, well, you can make music without being a great reader. I mean, the more you understand, the better, but I mean,
sure,
you don't have to be a mofo reader to be a good musician, you know.
that is correct. That is
Yeah.
correct. Right.
By the way, Roland said, I stand corrected. The hit song was Touch of Grey.
Well, there it is. Yeah, I think that's the one I was singing. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There it is. They had their one hit.
Yeah. So what else can we talk about before we, end off? I don't have to drag you through the 2 hours exactly, but um, yeah. Uh, Anything you want to talk about besides your new record coming
Yeah, I
out?
wish I had a
When will
name.
when
I
will
wish I
that
had
be
a
out?
Yeah, I wish I had a name for it, but
When do you think
I'll
it'll
let
be
you
out?
know when it's out, and you can, maybe say, "Hey, Mike Capitan's got a
Yeah.
new record out." I'm excited about that. We're, as you may or may not know, John and I are working. We're mixing a new Chet Baker record, which is going to be real
Yeah.
interesting. We're
It's done, isn't it?
It's not done. No, some of the tracks are done, but I would say at this point we're probably three-quarters of the way through it. It's going to be a two-record set. We're both real excited about it, and it's just real interesting to. It's all unreleased stuff. It's not, it's not been issued before. Some live and then some in the studio, and we've been hitting it hard. Hopefully, that's going to be done uh, in terms of our work, the mixing, in a few weeks, and then I don't know when it's going to come out, but it's going to be issued on vinyl and CD, and Bruce Weber is involved. He's going to make a some kind of short film about it. So cool project. And Yeah, so that's
Right.
exciting. And that's probably it for, what's going on with me right now.
Yeah. What do you well, we already talked about that. I was going to say where do you see stuff moving into the future, but do you see any way do you see and we talked about this too, but do you see any way that music is going to grow and support musicians a little better financially? Do you see
No.
do you wonder about that? Yeah.
No, I think it's dire. I'm definitely glass half empty on this one.
Yeah.
With the streaming stuff, FYI, Apple Music and Tidal, the
Yeah.
Tidal, the streaming platform, pay the musicians the most of any of those.
Oh,
Spotify is horrible
yeah.
for musicians. YouTube is horrible for musicians.
Yeah.
And all this, as we discussed before, kind of started in the mid 90s with, and now people, well, music, oh, they do it for fun. It's free. Where can I get this track for free? So at least, people are paying a small monthly fee to have access to all this music. Unless you're Taylor Swift and huge, and I think most of the money now comes for musicians comes from live performance, which is great. But that music industry that we know about, where you sell records and CDs, and the artist gets a nice bit of change for that work, I think it's gone forever. I think if you choose a career as a musician now or in the industry, of course you have to do it because you love it.
Yeah.
But to think about, and I did think about this when I moved to LA. I just want to, I had no illusions about being any kind of superstar or anything. I just wanted to make a middle class living doing what I loved, pay
Yeah.
my bills. I'm happy, and that's the way it is to this day. But other than pop music, which is huge, and I love a lot of it. Uh, uh, anyway, I'm very interested in the production of that stuff, and I think there's a lot of innovation being done, and I love some of the mixing that's being done today. But I don't know. I don't know. Unless you're huge, I think for, that kind of middle tier of musicians and people starting out, good luck. Do it because you love it.
Yeah.
Don't do it because you think you're going to make a ton of money. And have some kind of backup plan to,
Yeah.
pay your bills. I think it's just sad. It's really changed. And
It is
again, to me,
sad.
the golden age, 70s and 80s. And
Yeah.
then,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. I don't know, man.
Support your local musician. Go to gigs.
Yeah.
Pay the money up there, and uh, you know, stream is stream and give the artist, their fraction of a cent per play, and
Or as Brad Dutz would say, Bandcamp.
there you go. Brad's made some money on Bandcamp, yeah. And Bandcamp, I believe, is one of the most artist-friendly platforms out there. I should get my stuff up on Bandcamp too. But yes, good mention. That at least you get something out of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna play one more song of yours, but let's see. Can I do from Spin or Sketches of
Yeah.
Spin?
Yeah.
Because I got it up here. Let's see. So,
What do we got? We played Big D before. That's cool. Um, Lonely Satellite is cool. There's a cool video for that. That's cool. That'd be a good one. There's a bunch of good ones. I love A Cup of Joe is one of my favorites. But a Lonely Satellite or A Cup of Joe is cool.
A Cup of Joe is one of your favorites.
Yeah, that's one of my faves, yeah. I like
Sudden
that.
ending.
I like it. I like that one. Yeah. And I just don't, thanks for playing that. Yeah, I hadn't heard that in a while. And I don't know if we answered Roland's question. Did we answer? Because I will say it again. And this is, I'm a man on a mission. He asked why the compensation has gotten so bad. Why? Because LimeWire and Napster in the mid 90s started digitizing all this stuff, and everybody was getting music for free.
Yeah,
And today, again, the attitude toward a lot of consumers is, those musicians, they just they do it, they love it. They do it because they love it, and not realizing we've got a ton of money invested in gear, a lot of time to create this stuff. And the streaming platforms now, you look at the stock on Spotify, it's through the roof. Who's making all the money off Spotify?
I
The big
know.
labels are. The CEO is made Eck, what's his name? Daniel Eck has made millions and millions on this. Meanwhile, the musicians get hardly anything.
Yeah,
Now, if you get below, what is it, 1,000 plays or something, you get nothing. So,
yeah,
your little, independent musicians are seeing nothing, and they're doing it because they love it. So it's the rise of streaming platforms and the bootlegging and digitizing of music starting in the mid 90s it's just a downward trend, and I don't see it changing at all. And again, if you're not Taylor Swift or Sabrina Carpenter, I love Sabrina Carpenter and I love Taylor Swift. I total respect
yeah,
for the pop music stuff. But if you're mid-tier or an independent artist starting out, good luck. So that is what happened to the music industry, and it's been really pretty much destroyed, in my
yeah,
opinion.
yeah. I know. I just, Spotify, the Spotify thing. Just, I mean, how much greed is enough? You know?
I know, and the stock is through the
Oh,
roof. I've been
yeah,
following it. It's up there. It's over $600. I mean, yeah,
yeah, yeah,
do not like it. Do not like it.
yeah. I mean, I would get rid of all my CDs if I didn't travel to Japan, because in Japan I can sell on a trip I can sell 50 CDs or whatever. So I keep them, but
Yeah,
otherwise, you know, yeah, there's no need. And
I
I
know.
don't even know if it's because they have players. I think it's just like a special thing because they saw you, and so they want part of you.
Exactly, exactly. So that's the best thing. And I've mixed records for independent artists, and they sell them at gigs, and they bring in some money. But I've got boxes out in the garage of my stuff, and it's just. I'll just tell you one story. I produced a couple of records and mixed them for an artist, instrumental kind of jazzy music. Guy's name is Ryan Bridwell. He was at a gig and he had a stack of CDs he was trying to sell. And at the end of the event, he tried giving them away, and he could not give away the CDs. And people were saying, "Oh, I don't have a CD player. I
Yeah,
can't do anything with this.
yeah,
Everybody's streaming."
yeah,
So,
yeah. So that was the kind of the last move, and then and now they sell cars with no CD players in them.
right,
And
right.
it's almost like a big conspiracy plan. I remember one time at the Blue Whale, it was a while back, but John DeVersa, who's a really wonderful, talented artist, he had a small group and he literally sent somebody around the room to each person giving his CD. And then he had a tip jar near the stage and he said, if you would like to give some money for this
Sure.
CD, put some money in there, but I want you to go home with the music,
Yeah,
and I tried that several times and it worked actually. It was quite nice. I mean,
great.
obviously I didn't get the money that I would get if I was really selling CDs, but I got my music into the hands of people. But then, as you say, there was this other level that happened, which is no CD player at home. People don't own a CD player.
I
That's
know.
incredible.
I
Oh my
know.
God.
I know. And not in cars anymore. Now, we have two cars. One has a CD player in it. It's, I don't know, 7 or 8 years old. And our newer car, no CD player, just media, jack your iPhone into it
I
and
mean,
either stream or,
who the
yeah.
crap thought of that? And why? Did they
It's,
were
it's,
they
it's the market. I mean, CD sales are up year over year slightly, and
Yeah,
vinyl is up a bit, but it's
yeah,
still minuscule.
yeah,
So it's done. And what gets me is that to me the best fidelity, as
yeah,
a musician and as an engineer, is a well-mastered CD. It beats, what we get streaming wise, and it beats vinyl big time. I know there's that we can argue about that, or people
yeah,
do, but I'm tired of ticks and pops and scratches and
yeah,
the lack of the sub, the bottom end and the
yeah,
top end
yeah,
on vinyl. So, but they're up a little bit. I hope that trend continues. There is a trend. People just with the same as with the vinyl thing. People, you made a point. People want a little bit of it. They want to look at the artwork. They want to hold something in their hand. They want to look at the credits, lyrics, if it's
yeah,
music with lyrics. So there's that, which is kind of nice. You
yeah,
want to have something, but yeah, sad. Glass half full here.
yeah, I know. I know. So, and Roland said, I just bought sketches of Spin, so now Mike can buy himself 3 drops of Joe.
There you go. Sounds good. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you very
Roland.
much.
Well, Mike, it was fun to talk to you,
Oh,
really.
great,
And
Cat.
I'm sorry, but I've never really listened to your playing. And I wanted to ask you a question. So on most of these records, is there a live band?
No, it's mostly all me.
That's incredible.
Yeah, yeah. John is on a couple of tracks here and there,
Yeah,
on acoustic bass, but it's all me. Yeah, drum loops that I manipulate, stuff that I program. Uh, so yeah. Let me see. Sketches of Spin, that was all done pandemic. So that was all except for the one track John Leftwich is on bass. That's all me. So yeah, I program, I manipulate loops and play everything in. And pretty much on all those records. Yeah, I would say 95% myself.
it's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. I'm impressed.
Check out the second track on Believe It too. It's different. It's this kind of gospely blues thing, and just listen to it. And so those are vocal samples that I chopped up, kind of old blues guys that I chopped up,
Yeah,
and there's a solo, a slide guitar solo on that thing.
yeah.
That solo, I will just say, I cut that up. That's not just a recorded sample of a solo. That is almost note by note, phrase by phrase that I pulled off of slide guitar samples and assembled myself. That is not someone's solo. That is a artificially generated. No,
Wow.
no. I put that together with a bunch of editing, and I'm kind of proud of that. I think it's kind of cool the way that came out.
And just
But check it out.
curious,
It sounds like
how
a
long did
blues,
that take?
huh?
How long did that take?
That took a couple days.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, I didn't have access to a great slide guitar player.
yeah.
Where would I find that? At that time, I was living in Humboldt County in California.
Huh.
Where would I find that? And I wanted that flavor. I wanted that kind of bluesy, kind of retro-ish thing. And so I used those vocal samples and a bunch of just one and two and three note phrases and assemble it. Anyway, it's kind of cool the way that came together. So check it out. It's the second track on.
Juliana, is that what it?
No, that's a beautiful song. No, it's the second track. It's
Oh, what you got on your mind?
yeah, what you got on your mind. Just check
Okay,
it out.
yeah. Let's see. I wanted to ask you something else. Oh yeah, the live video that we saw, smoking band.
Oh, thanks.
Oh
Thanks.
my God! And that bass player, wow, she
Yeah,
was
Anna
so
Pfeiffer.
solid, man.
She is. She's a solid player. Yeah, Anna
Wow.
Pfeiffer. Yeah, she's yeah.
And the
That was
guitarist was amazing. The drummer was great. Wow, and you sounded great.
yeah.
Wow.
Hate that mix though. That keyboard, those keyboards
I
should go
know.
louder.
I know the keyboard mix was like, can I
Yeah.
can I turn this up somehow?
Yeah, you saw me reach for the knob. I had that thing on 10 and Yeah, what
Oh,
can you do? But that was a fun band, and again, it was just so much fun playing that music, and you never know. Maybe assemble a band like that up here. That was a blast. I just loved playing that stuff. So yeah.
yeah, that was absolutely awesome. Well, okay, I'll let you go, and I'm just going to tell people in LA I have my Jinkies gig tomorrow. We're going to be doing, I have a morning gig. Can you believe that? 9:30 a.m. to 1.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, in Santa Monica at Jinkies, which is a place in Sherman Oaks that a lot of people know. It's like a breakfast and lunch place. And they have one in Santa Monica, but because of the fires, it was a little, um, well,
Jinky.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So but he wanted to support the community, so he stayed open every day only till 3 and brought me in. And so been doing that Saturdays. We're probably gonna move the days or times when it comes to be June, but at least that's gonna happen. And
So yeah. So are you in there with a band or what? What's the story?
yeah, I'm in there with Dory Amarillo on guitar
Uh-huh.
and percussion. Usually I use Joey De Leon, who's really fun. This week we're going to use Scott Bredman, but yeah,
So it's percussion,
yeah,
vocal, and guitar.
yeah,
Real. Nice.
it's fun.
Yeah.
Good
Sounds like
breakfast right near the beach. It's pleasant. It's a nice way to start the day. There's no cover charge. Blah blah blah. It's
nice.
really nice. Yeah. And then for those of you who want to come back on this show, Ken Poplawski Monday. Can't wait. He's a friggin' great player. He was supposed to be on last week, but he got COVID and he's had
Oh,
cancer, and so his immune system is kind of screwed. But anyway, Ken Poplawski on Monday and Friday. Alan Cook, he's up in your area actually. Alan Cook,
hmm.
Toronto.
Oh,
So
cool.
anyway, thank you so much for being on. It was really fun. I had a great time talking to you.
Great. Thanks, Kathy. Thanks for having me on. This was fun.
Okay. You're amazing, man. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. All right. See